You know, the first thing every farmer learns, often the hard way, is that wealth in agriculture has never really depended on owning the biggest fields or, well, having the fanciest tools. It has always come from choosing the right crop at the right time. When you look at old farming communities, whether that's colonial America, pre-war East Africa or early Mediterranean settlements, the farmers who gained a financial edge weren't the ones planting the crops everyone else was fighting over. They picked a crop that needed little land, little input and little risk, but produced something the local market was always running out of. That pattern really hasn't changed, even today. In a world full of complicated farming systems and high-cost operations, beginners often forget that some of the most profitable crops are actually the simplest ones. These crops don't require tractors, deep irrigation networks, or, a decade of experience. They just need consistency, careful timing, and a bit of basic discipline. And that brings us straight to the easiest cash crop almost anyone can start with today: culinary and medicinal herbs. Well, the first reason herbs are the easiest beginner cash crop is that they, really thrive under minimal conditions. Unlike vegetables that demand perfect soil or grains that require large planting spaces, herbs grow vigorously in small plots, containers, raised beds, or even old buckets. Historical farmers, you see, relied on herbs for medicine flavour preservation and trade because these plants were resilient and easy to transport. The same qualities, honestly, make them ideal for a modern beginner. Basil, rosemary, mint, thyme, lemongrass, oregano, chives and coriander do not punish new growers for small mistakes. Even in dry spells or with imperfect watering, they just keep regrowing. Someone starting with just a 2x3 metre bed can produce more value from herbs than they could from planting maize, beans or cabbage on the same plot. The key, really, is to start with varieties suited to your climate. So, in warm regions, you'll find that basil, rosella, lemongrass and oregano really do well, while cooler zones can handle thyme and mint with ease. A practical starting routine, honestly, is to prepare a compost-rich bed, plant seedlings instead of seeds for quicker results, and, well, make sure to prune regularly to encourage nice, dense growth. The second reason herbs tend to outperform most beginner crops is, simply put, their short turnaround time. You see, a beginner cash crop really needs to put money in the farmer's hand quickly. Herbs really shine here because, well, they can be harvested again and again, often within 30 to 45 days, depending on the variety. This repeated harvest cycle is actually what makes herbs so historically valuable. Back in medieval times, growers would harvest herbs multiple times each season, selling them fresh, dried or bundled up for storage. So today the same principle applies. When basil reaches about 10 to 15 centimetres, the grower can start pruning the tips. And, within a week or two, the plant actually doubles its biomass. A new grower can have continuous harvests for months on end without ever needing to replant. When herbs are grown in a raised bed with good organic matter, the productivity increases even more. Continuous production, well, that means continuous income. The third reason herbs are the strongest beginner cash crop is really their high price per kilogram. While vegetables like tomatoes or onions are sold cheaply because of huge supply, herbs remain high value since they need careful post-harvest handling, and honestly, there's a strong and steady demand for them. You know, restaurants need them constantly, and well, home cooks buy them weekly. Food processors, herbal tea producers, and wellness businesses, they all buy them in bulk. And unlike perishable fruits, herbs can be sold fresh or dried without losing value. A farmer with even a small patch can dry mint lemongrass, basil and rosella leaves, package them up, and, sell them at a premium. Historically, dried herbs were among the first profitable exports because they stored well and weighed very little. That same advantage gives beginners today a safety net. Nothing goes to waste. If you can't sell herbs fresh this week, you simply dry them and sell them later. The fourth reason herbs win for beginners is minimal pest pressure and easy maintenance. Herbs naturally contain aromatic oils that deter many pests. This is not theory. It is the reason ancient farmers planted herbs around the edges of gardens long before chemical pesticides existed. These oils create a defensive barrier that discourages insects from overrunning the crop. While vegetables require spraying, pruning, staking and heavy feeding, herbs remain relatively low maintenance. A beginner only needs to water consistently, keep the area weeded and prune frequently. The more you prune, the more you harvest. Even in drought conditions, many herbs, particularly rosemary, thyme and oregano, survive heat waves without major losses. This resilience gives beginners confidence and protects them from discouraging crop failures. Now, the fifth reason herbs stand out as the easiest cash crop is the sheer variety of ways they can be sold. A new farmer, you see, should always opt for a crop that opens up multiple market doors. Herbs, well, they qualify straight away. You can sell them fresh to eager restaurants, package them in neat little bundles for households, dry and store them for a comforting cup of tea, process them into soothing salves or fragrant oils, or even transform them into delightful value-added products. For a beginner, starting with selling to local neighbours and gradually working your way into boutique shops is a solid approach. Many farmers, build a loyal customer base by delivering weekly herb bundles. Others find success at weekend markets, earning a steady and reliable income. The diversity of products indeed makes herbs a strategic entry point for anyone looking to build a small agricultural business. The final reason herbs succeed as a beginner's cash crop is that they scale effortlessly. A beginner can start with 4 or 5 varieties in a small area. Once they understand local demand, they expand by adding more beds or more varieties without buying expensive tools. This is exactly how many traditional herb farmers built wealth during early trade periods. Small gardens eventually became large operations simply by expanding outward from what already worked. A small grower today can follow the same pattern. Start small, master quality, and expand as demand increases. Herbs are the simplest, safest, most profitable entry point into agricultural income. With minimal land, low risk, fast harvests and high value, they offer beginners a reliable path into the farming world. If this guide helped you see how accessible farming profits can be, subscribe to Husbandry Channel and share this video with anyone who wants to start farming the smart way, not the hard way.